What does it mean to be elegant today? British actress Jodie Comer, with her impeccable poise, is considered an example of modern elegance. But did you know that in the 18th century, elegance was associated with towering wigs and dresses so tight that women could barely breathe? It may sound extreme, but it reflects a reality. Elegance has always been a mirror of the society of its time. Today, the rules have changed, or rather, become more subtle, and that has brought new challenges. What truly defines an elegant woman in an era dominated by casual trends, where excess often sets the tone? Think about this. Coco Chanel revolutionized fashion by popularizing women's trousers, an act that was not only daring for its time, but also redefined elegance as something practical, sophisticated, and effortless. However, have you noticed that even in today's hyper-connected world with access to endless information, many women still confuse elegance with something purely tied to luxury or ostentation? And how often have you seen someone wearing expensive clothes, yet something still felt off? This confusion exists because true elegance goes beyond what you wear. It's a combination of attitudes, choices, and details that have evolved over centuries. But has elegance lost its original meaning, or has it simply adapted to modern times? If you're curious to rediscover the essence of true elegance and apply it to your life in a practical and sophisticated way, check out my ebook, Be Elegant When You Travel: Global Etiquette for the Sophisticated Traveler. The link is in the pinned comment. You'll learn how to become a traveler who impresses anywhere in the world, because, let's face it, elegance doesn't take vacations. And if you believe that elegance is a formula for success and want to transform your presence into something truly remarkable, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and leave a like. After all, elegance never goes out of style, but knowing how to apply it is what makes all the difference. How elegance became a pillar of success in changing times. In the early 20th century, dressing well was governed by rigid rules, leaving little room for error. Social norms dictated what was acceptable, and any deviation was scandalous. A prime example was French President Paul Deschanel's choice to marry in a morning coat instead of the traditional tailcoat. It might seem like a trivial detail, but this decision was so bold that it caused an uproar in society at the time. However, what could have destroyed his reputation ended up making him a trendsetter, proving that elegance can also mean adaptability during times of change. Today, women face a similar paradox. They have more freedom of choice than ever, but with that comes greater responsibility for every decision. How a person dresses can influence up to 75% of others' perceptions in the first few seconds of interaction. In other words, even if you have the skills and knowledge, the way you present yourself can be the difference between being remembered or overlooked. But here's the catch. In the past, simply following the rules was enough to get it right. Today, the abundance of options and trends often leads to confusion. A woman might wear the most expensive piece in her wardrobe and still fail to convey the message she intends. Why? Because more than the outfit itself, what matters is the intention behind it. Dressing well today is about more than just picking a beautiful garment. It's about strategy. Consider how public figures like Lou Alckmin, wife of Brazil's vice president, balance modernity and tradition by using clothing as an extension of their message. Strength and elegance combined. They understand that clothing is a visual language, a way to communicate values before uttering a single word. Here's the key. Instead of seeking validation through fleeting trends, the secret lies in aligning your image with your personal and professional goals. This doesn't mean adhering to rigid rules like in the past, but rather understanding which elements work for you, in the environment you live in, and the message you want to convey. In the end, elegance isn't just about what you wear, but how it reflects who you truly are. When fashion stops being a uniform and becomes freedom. Until the mid-20th century, men's fashion was a rigid ritual, leaving no room for creativity. Clothing was more of an obligation than a form of self-expression. Wearing a navy, black, or gray suit with a white shirt was the rule. Nothing more. This standard was so inflexible that even young men followed the same dress code as their fathers without question. Ironically, the only ones who could dare to break the rules were those already part of the elite, the very people who created them. Then, something changed. The young Prince of Wales, who would later become King Edward VIII, used clothing to challenge the customs of the British aristocracy. Imagine a royal court where even the length of a tie could spark scandal. the prince dared to wear more comfortable pieces, replacing excessive formality with a style that balanced tradition and functionality. His choices weren't just about aesthetics. They were a cry for freedom in a world where clothing symbolized control. And it didn't stop with royalty. After World War II, with significant social and economic changes, fashion became more accessible and, most importantly, more expressive. Individuality in dressing started to gain traction in the 1950s, when clothes began to be seen as a way to stand out rather than conform. What started as rebellion within exclusive circles grew into a global movement. But here's the paradox. While the past's challenge was escaping rigid norms, today's problem is different. The abundance of freedom often traps many women in fleeting trends, leaving them disconnected from their authentic selves. The solution? Use fashion like the Duke of Windsor did, not to prove something to others, but as a tool for genuine self-expression. Because ultimately, true freedom in fashion doesn't lie in following all the rules or ignoring them completely. It's about knowing which ones work for you. When fashion stops being tradition and becomes a tool for transformation. In the late 19th and early 20th centuries, dressing the English way was the ultimate standard of elegance. Impeccable fabrics, London tailors revered as artists, and iconic patterns like the Prince of Wales check, popularized by Edward VII, dominated men's wardrobes. Everything seemed perfect, but there was a problem. The clothes, while beautiful, reflected tradition rather than innovation. Style was trapped in the past, bound by norms that stifled significant change. Edward VII brought a breath of fresh air. During his youth as the Prince of Wales, he broke barriers by incorporating pieces traditionally limited to sportswear, like rugby shirts and wool sweaters, into everyday attire. He transformed the blazer, once merely a yacht club uniform, into something every man could wear. Why does this matter? Because he showed that even a traditional garment could be reinvented to reflect freedom, attitude, and even rebellion. Decades later, another name would radically transform the scene: Pierre Cardin. Inspired by Christian Dior's revolutionary new look, which redefined women's fashion after the war, Cardin elevated men's fashion to new heights. He rejected the pristine white shirts of the past and introduced colors like blue and pink, turning what was once a uniform into a spectrum of possibilities. Cardin also brought the blazer into everyday wardrobes for both men and women, redefining its purpose and breaking its elite-only status. Here's the twist. While men used these changes to break free from outdated standards, women faced an even greater dilemma. Despite Dior's revolutionary impact, women's fashion still carried heavy societal expectations: what to wear, how to behave, and what was deemed acceptable. This created a pressure that, in some ways, persists to this day. The modern challenge isn't just about wearing clothes that look elegant, but understanding how each piece can convey a message of strength and freedom. Women can and should draw inspiration from figures like Edward VII and Pierre Cardin to use fashion as a tool for transformation, rejecting standards that don't reflect their true essence. Because, in the end, true elegance isn't about blindly following traditions, but adapting them to fit the moment you're living in. When fashion stopped being about rules and became about choices. In the 1960s, dressing was almost like following a manual. Trends were clear, options were limited, and for those who wanted to be well-regarded, all they had to do was stick to the script. A man wearing a red sweater was seen as a revolutionary, drawing attention and comments, like spotting a pink car on a street lined with black sedans. But by the following decade, fashion began to break free. What once shocked became commonplace, and statement pieces started to fill the wardrobes of anyone, regardless of their daring spirit. This shift paved the way for an even bigger revolution. Giorgio Armani, for instance, reinvented suits by deconstructing them, removing the rigidity that had symbolized masculine formality. His approach not only modernized the classic suit, but also introduced a new perspective. Clothes should feel like an extension of the body, not a constraint. While Armani redefined timeless elegance, denim, originally designed as workwear, cemented its status as a universal style icon. This evolution struck a decisive blow against the rigid standards that had dominated fashion for centuries. But this newfound freedom came with a new conflict. In the past, simply following clear trends was enough, but today, the overwhelming number of options has made everything more complicated. A runway show in Paris might showcase one idea, Milan another, while London and New York each carve their own path. Even if someone wanted to and could keep up with it all, it would be impossible. According to the Fashion Transparency Index, over 100 billion garments are produced each year, yet only a fraction of them have lasting impact or help build a personal style. The real challenge is no longer about being in fashion, but about making choices that resonate in a sea of endless options. The paradox is that while fashion has become more democratic, it also demands greater responsibility. The key isn't trying to chase every trend, but understanding which pieces and styles align with your life and identity. Because at the end of the day, it's not about wearing everything available. It's about making choices that communicate your essence in a world where possibilities are more unlimited than ever. You might be asking yourself, okay, I get how elegance has changed over time, but how does this apply to me today? And this is where many women get stuck. They know they want to be elegant. They know it makes a difference, but they're unsure how to apply it to their own bodies and personal style. So, let me ask you this. How can you build an image that communicates elegance, regardless of your body type? Are there specific pieces that work better to highlight your best features? This is the kind of knowledge that completely transforms how you dress and how others perceive you. That's why I recommend watching the video Elegance for All Body Types, How to Be Elegant, where I teach you how to create elegant looks tailored to your body shape. Let's be honest, elegance only becomes real when it works for you. Today, we talked about how elegance has evolved and how it's about more than just clothes. It reflects your attitude, choices, and the messages you send to the world. Next, we'll bring these ideas to life with practical tips you can use every day. Elegance isn't some distant concept. It's a tool to transform your life. If you want more content like this, be sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Don't forget to leave a like, because an elegant woman understands that knowledge is an investment and elegance is always profitable. If you enjoyed the video, comment below. Always elegant. In the pinned comment, you'll find links to elegant products that can help you elevate your style with ease. See you in the next video.